Hello everybody, welcome to Yan'an, China. Yan'an is the birthplace of the Chinese Revolution, and throughout this video tour I'm going to be exploring the key revolutionary sites of the place where the Chinese Communist Party was reborn. So without further ado, let's get acquainted with Yan'an. Hello viewers, greetings from Yan'an, China. Here I am in what's called the Holy Land of the Chinese Revolution. Yes, Yan'an is very proud of its history and not without reason. Yan'an is absolutely central to the Chinese Revolution. It's the terminus of the Long March. It's the site of the Yan'an rectification campaign. It's the place that formally cemented Mao Zedong's leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. If we're going to think of the Chinese Revolution as like a 3-volume work, I'll use Lord of the Rings as an example. Here we are is roughly where we're at the end of the Two Towers. The Chinese Communist Party have just survived the Long March, a 9,000-mile trek across treacherous terrain, which many didn't survive. So here we get to Yan'an, the place to regroup, and they basically found a new party and in turn found a new China. So here I am about to explore the Yan'an Revolutionary Museum. Let's see what it holds. Okay, so now I'm in the central hall of the Yan'an Revolution Museum Hall. There seems to be less people around compared to earlier. I was trying to get my photo taken in front of the series of statues behind me, of course, mainly Mao Zedong, Zhu De, Zhou Enlai, and many of the other revolutionary figures. Many people like to have the photo taken here, and I managed to get a fairly good shot. In fact, a very nice young lady asked to have a photo taken with me. Now, this doesn't happen so much these days in my travels in China, but I think in a place like Yan'an, where few foreigners go, well, I'm the only foreigner I've seen here, I think I'm something of a curiosity. Well, let's explore further. Okay, well, first of all, let me say I'm a real curiosity over here, because as I was walking through this door, two ladies were just stood there blatantly photographing me, which is fine. I don't mind at all. And I've been to a few other military sites like this, but I have to say this so far has the most impressive selection of sculptures that I've seen so far. And I did see some good ones in Nanchang and Ningxia and Ho Hot, but this. So behind me, where the red star is, it basically explains that the First and Second Front Armies arrived in Yan'an under the leadership of the CPC in 1935, and Yan'an became the home front for the fight for liberation of the country. So behind me we have a variety of photographs. To my rear I can see what looks like Zhu De and Mao Zedong, but anyway, let's just turn the camera around and have a better look. Okay, so we have at the top left Mao Zedong, obviously. To the far right we have Zhou Enlai. I just had to check that. But the figure in the middle I'm not so familiar with. I believe it says what is it? Chang. Can't read those two characters. Bei de Jiang Yantian. 不好意思，他是张阳天。张文天。Oh, Zhang Wentian. Okay,谢谢。Okay, the very nice lady is coincidentally the lady who wanted to have a photo taken with me. So she just helped me out with a historical figure that I'm kind of unfamiliar with, Zhang Wentian. Now, again, there are many figures which didn't survive the Long March, so I'll have to find out about Zhang Wentian later. But let's tour a bit further, shall we? So over here we have what looks to be, again, more figures. It says Shanxi, Xinping. No, I don't recognise this person. 1898 to 1928, so no, he'd have only just got out of the Jingangshan base area at that point. So we have, yeah, so many of these people, I guess I'm unfamiliar with them because they maybe didn't survive the Long March, and let's remember that a lot of people did not survive the Long March. In many ways it was a reinvention of the Chinese Communist Party. I can't remember how many tens of thousands died on the Long March. So to call it a baptism by fire is something of an understatement. So we have various surviving relics, the early flags of the Chinese Red Army, which we can see with the looks like the scythe and the hoe, and an up to inverted hammer and sickle emblem, and yet another scythe and hoe there. Oh, well, is it a sickle? I'm not sure. And a traditional sabre. Reminds me very much about the sabre I used to use at my wushu class. But obviously, the one I used wasn't quite as aged as that. And we have a sculpture reenacting the cave scene. And aha, here we have it, Bo Gu. Okay, let's just this gives a bit more information. So the person to my top left is Bo Gu, who seems to be a lesser known figure in 20th century Chinese history, at least with the Chinese. When I've mentioned Bo Gu to many Chinese, they don't know who he is, which is surprising considering he actually led the Chinese Communist Party for a couple of years in the 1930s, when he was actually quite young. I mean, he led the Chinese Communist Party while he was in his 30s. I do know that he was one of the 28 Bolsheviks, and also, according to Alexander Pansov's biography of Deng Xiaoping, he was an antagonist of Deng Xiaoping. Now, I know Mao Zedong replaced him at the Zunyi conference, which was when the title of leader of the party was changed from general secretary to chairman, which was changed back from chairman to general secretary in the early 1980s. However, yeah, he was a leader of the party, one of the 28 Bolsheviks, which meant people who followed the Moscow line, which, as I'll explain later, was a bit detrimental to the cause of the CCP. And also he died quite young, died in a plane crash, only about the age of 40. So quite a mysterious figure. That's all I'll say for now. So where I am now covers most of what was called the Yan'an rectification campaign. So just a quick recap, as we know, Chinese Communist Party founded in 1921 in Shanghai, attempted destruction by Chiang Kai-shek or Jiang Jieshi in 1927 in Nanchang, and the Long March starting in 1927 and progressing up to Yan'an in Shanxi in 1935. Now, by the time we get to Yan'an, what we have essentially is a new party, or a very different communist party from the one founded in the 1920s. This owes to a few things. Number one, they found that the Moscow line just really wasn't that good for them. The Moscow line would have probably resulted in self-destruction, and the Moscow line was basically fight the Kuomintang and fight the Japanese head-on, rather than the strategy of Mao Zedong, which was they retreat, we harass. They retreat, we advance. They advance, we retreat. Sorry, I've fluffed it up, but anyway, it's a different strategy, a more guerrilla strategy, whereas as opposed to the Soviet strategy of basically just throwing all your eggs in one basket, which we've seen how that works. I mean, Soviet or Russian approaches tend to be a bit of a mess for the first year, i.e. Stalingrad for the first year, but they win eventually. Well, taking the Soviet approach wasn't really a luxury that could be afforded to the Chinese Communist Party. So that's why those who followed the Moscow line were not really prevalent. If they had been, well, I probably wouldn't be here now in this revolutionary museum. So a very different line was taken by Mao Zedong and other members of the leadership, such as Zhou Enlai. And when we get to Yan'an, we have the rectification campaign, which is essentially formally creating a very different Chinese Communist Party. Now, much of this history is behind me, but my Chinese isn't that brilliant, so I can understand so much of it, but so much I can't. And like I say, I'm not fluent at reading Chinese. But anyway, thank you all, and let's continue the talk. Okay, so I get to this other part which says journalism and publishing. Now, what's worth noting is that the famous book by Edgar Snow, A Red Star Over China, was written when Edgar Snow met Mao Zedong in Yan'an in the late 1930s. Actually, before America's entry into the Second World War, and certainly long before any kind of communist victory in China was assured. So the Red Star Over China title was a bit premature, but it does say journalism and publishing. Now, I find out that the figure to the left of Mao Zedong is actually Jiang Wentian. That's somebody who I don't know. Now, I can see that the figure to my left is Bo Gu, and the one at the top, I'm not sure, Shang, I can't remember. But yeah, it's also here, Otto Braun also met Mao Zedong in Yan'an, but again, journalism and publishing, clearly the biggest publicist and the first person to make Mao Zedong famous worldwide was Edgar Snow in his famous book Red Star Over China. So I just can't see any pictures of Edgar Snow here, oddly enough. Oh well, anyway, on with the talk. So we have more black and white prints, and we have very interesting socialist realism artwork over here. I mean, I like socialist realism, but in this case, I don't think socialist realism is accurate. I'd call it more socialist romanticism. However, over here, I see a picture of Song Qingling. Now, Song Qingling was obviously one of the famous Song sisters. Song Ailing, Song Meiling, and Song Qingling. Now, all of them married very notable figures in Chinese history. Is it Song Huling or Song Ailing? Yeah. She married the richest man in China. Song Qingling married Sun Zhongshan, about 25 years her senior. And Song Meiling has probably most famously married Jiang Jieshi or Chiang Kai-shek. Now, Song Qingling joined the Red Side, but she actually wasn't formally admitted to the Communist Party until her very last years. Interestingly enough. However, yeah, I need to study more about the Song sisters. Now, there is a biography of the Song sisters, but I'm reluctant, by Zhong Chang, but I'm reluctant to read it because her other books are just, well, to be quite frank, total garbage. I'm just surprised that Fox News has never actually had her under contract, but enough about her. Finally, I found what I'm looking for, acknowledgement of people such as Edgar Snow and Sidney Rittenberger. So behind me I can see what's very clearly a statue of Mao Zedong with Edgar Snow, and to my rear is a famous picture of Edgar Snow and Mao Zedong in Yan'an. I believe the one to the top left is Sidney Rittenberger. Now, I must add a correction here. I mentioned Otto Braun. Otto Braun was a military advisor, not a journalist. So do forgive me on that, folks. It is very early in the morning. It's only just turned 9 o'clock, and I was the first in line for this museum. So, Yeah, I think I can be forgiven for my memory getting a bit hazy at times. So yes, Edgar Snow wrote Red Star over China in 1937. So again, just to repeat, 12 years before the eventual CCP victory, and 4 years before America's entry into World War II. So this very much popularised Mao Zedong on the international stage, and showed the Chinese Revolution in a very different light. Also written for a foreign audience. So yeah, Edgar Snow is in many ways one of my role models, because, like I said, he went to China at a much more dangerous time, without the aid of the internet, without auto-translate, without AI or anything like that. So yeah, people like Edgar Snow, yeah, they're a hero of a bygone age, but still worth admiring. Okay, so I do see some very interesting sculptures around here. Well, there's plenty of them, but I have to say this is the most impressive I've seen. Even more impressive than the PLA Founding Museum in Nanchang, Jiangxi Province. Now, the area here is dedicated to, as it says behind me, the establishment of the leading position of Mao Zedong Fort. So some brief words about what actually is Maoism, or Mao Zedong Fort. Well, the first, maybe the most important one, is that the peasantry is the vanguard of the revolution. The Soviet line was that the revolution had to be led by the industrial proletariat, but there were kind of a few people were sensible enough to realise, well, hang on a minute, that's dead on arrival in China, because most of the population are farmers. At least they were in the early 20th century, so we have to make them the vanguard of the revolution. Second position, practice is the sole criterion of truth. Mao Zedong believed in practice over theory. I mean, theory is good, but it must withstand practice. And this ties in with one of his other proverbs: to read too many books is harmful. And he often likened the example of a pig farmer to a reader. A book, you can open it and close it when you want. That's not the same with the pig. The pig will run away from you when you try to slaughter it. You have to feed the pig. You have to adapt to the pig. So, although Mao Zedong was a bookworm himself, but he never, unlike many people today, believed in taking written truth over learned experience. The other crucial part is political power grows from the barrel of a gun. Now, this isn't just pure machismo logic. This was the reality that in the 1920s, the CCP faced extinction unless they actually had their own army. This was learned experience. Yuan Shikai had basically usurped power from Sun Yat-sen, because he had the guns and Sun Yat-sen didn't. And if the CCP was to survive, it must have its own army, which is where the famous dictum comes from. The party should always command the gun, and the gun should never command the party. So that's where you have the important doctrine of party leadership over the military, not the other way round. Okay folks, now I'm at the Wang Jiaping Ming revolutionary site. So Wang Jiaping is one of the other revolutionary bases where the Red Army and many of the leadership set up shop after arriving in Yan'an. So one of the military strategies of the Chinese Red Army was to be like fish and the people are like water. So they managed to basically set up shop arriving in Yan'an with very little. And they were hosted among the people. So they seem to have found a fairly decent place to stay. And it obviously, at this point, the fortunes had improved, as opposed to the other place I'll be visiting later. I believe that's the Yang Jiaping. I could be wrong. which was largely cave dwellings. So at this point, the fortunes of the Chinese Communist Party and the Red Army had improved somewhat. I believe this is a later stage of the Yan'an years. So let's start the tour. Okay, well, obviously by the writing, which I imagine most viewers can't read, but you can see by the significance of many people queue up to have their photos taken, I found another residence of Mao Zedong within the Wang Jiaping Revolutionary Base area. So this, if I look at the date, this is from 1945 to 1946. So we're at a latter stage in the Yan'an campaign where the fortunes have improved. So yeah, let's have a look and see what the living conditions were like. Okay, well, I'm going to forego the photo and for now. I got a fairly good one yesterday at Zhaoyuan, but I'm just going to start the tour. So yeah, this one's going to be a bit more crowded because after all, this is the one that people want to see, and we have Mao Zedong, Zhu De, and hang on, Wang Jiaping. No, not Wang Jiaping. Yeah, oh, no, sorry, can't read it. Just a moment, somebody will help me. Oh, 不好意思. Okay, Mao Zedong, Zhu De, but 我看不懂这个和啊，就一起的和叶剑英叶剑英对，在 Wang Jiaping 对，他们三个在这里谢谢。Okay, so the gentleman kindly explained it's Mao Zedong, Zhu De, and Ye Jiaying, who was also a field marshal at the Wang Jiaping site. So yeah, no. So here we have a bedroom here, and yeah. So the gentleman was telling me that this was a bedroom. And here we have, looks like a study room. Yes, it's a study room, and there's Mao Zedong with, somebody who I don't recognise. I can say that it's not Ho Chi Minh. I mean, okay, yeah, Mao Zedong met Ho Chi Minh many times, but that this was not one of them, and it wasn't really. Ho Chi Minh was tied up with other things at the time. What do we have? Mao Zedong, Li. Oh, can't read it. Okay, but yeah, we're in a study, and there's the young man who wanted his photo taken with me earlier. Very nice. And okay, well, tour of the residence done. Oh, let's see. That's Mao Zedong and. Okay, no, sorry, I'm just not. Oh, playing ping pong. Obviously, yeah. Here we can see the Chinese characters for ping pong. Ping pong chow. Ping pong chow. Okay, so table tennis, great revolutionary tradition. Okay, well, once again, I'm getting besieged by people who want to have the photo taken with me. I've never had this much attention all the time I've been in China. So I've just told the former residents of Mao Zedong. Behind me we have a picture of Mao Zedong and his son Mao Anying, who was unfortunately killed in the Korean War. However, I'm going to have to hurry up this tour because it's starting to rain. So without further ado, let's do the tour. And I've just seen a signpost taking me to the former residence of Zhu De and Peng Dehuai. So yeah, so it's Field Marshals Zhu De and Peng Dehuai up next. Okay, so if I look at some of these residences, we have these areas at the side don't seem to be very suitable for living in, or rather, not by our living standards. We are talking back in the 1930s, so different matter. So, as we've just seen the former residence of Mao Zedong. Now I'm going to head up the hillside. Now Yan'an is a very, very hilly place. In fact, it seems to be a town, or rather a city, but it's a very small city by Chinese standards, that's nestled in a valley. And yeah, it holds, I can see the strategic value of Yan'an, because it makes it, it's not somewhere that's just plainly out in the middle where you can be bombed by either the Japanese or the Kuomintang. You've got a bit of sanctuary, a bit of chance to regroup and get ready for fighting again, which is exactly what Yan'an was about. Well, I finally found it, the residence of Peng Dehuai, so without further ado, let's start the tour. So, Peng Dehuai is one of the 10 field marshals of the People's Liberation Army. He was born in Hunan province in, I believe, 1898, if I'm remembering off the top of my head. So here we see what's clearly his study. Not sure about this picture. Peng Dehuai and Shi Zhongshun. Yes, Shi Zhongshun is a very important revolutionary, mainly because of who he's the father of. It's somebody else with the name Shi, needless to say who. So here we have 1947, Peng Dehuai. It's in Yan'an, and it's Nanmen. Oh dear, sorry, I can't remember. Bao. Oh dear. Oh, sorry, my Chinese isn't so brilliant. Zai Da. Okay, well, he's clearly giving the salute to the troops. Yeah, that salute originates from Roman times. I mean, this is 1937. This is before some particular people with crooked crosses bastardized that salute. And here we have, Ye Jia Ying Zai Wang Jia Ping Ge Mei Jun Ao. Okay, well, it's clearly a meeting here in the Wang Jiaping revolutionary base, as we can see in the picture. Not as built up as it is now. I kind of like it when things are built up. So here's where Peng Dehuai would have slept, and there he is in his study, which would have been his study there, and there he is with his wife. Okay, I can't quite read her name, but I've painted her before, and like I said, a very attractive lady. And well, without further ado, let's end the tour. So, yeah, a bit more about Peng Dehuai. So, Peng Dehuai was the commander-in-chief of the 8th Route Army, and also later served as commander-in-chief of the Chinese Volunteer Army in the Korean War. He came from Hunan province, I believe, born in 1898, and probably he's difficult to pick a favourite, but he may well be my favourite out of the 10 marshals. I won't go too much into my judgment, but hey-ho, nice tour, thank you all. Okay, so here I am at the residence of Judah. Now, Judah is probably the most important of the 10 marshals. After all, he's the founder and the commander-in-chief of the People's Liberation Army. So here we have a picture of him. Judah Yan'an Shueshong. Okay, I can't fully read it, but and here he is. So, yes, he was born in Sichuan province in 1896. 1886, making him about 6 or 7 years the senior of Mao Zedong. Again, very important. He led the campaign in the Nanchang uprising in 1927, and after all, he's the founder and for many years the commander-in-chief of the PLA. So, yes, very important figure. Well, now I'm in Yanjiaying revolutionary base, a place where the CCP occupied from I believe 1943. Behind me is the assembly hall, which hosted the 7th plenum of the CCP and elected a central committee with Mao Zedong as its leadership. Again, a key part of the Yan'an rectification campaign. So let's go in. Okay, so this may be a bit crowded because it's obviously a place of key historical importance, and yeah, also I am getting a lot of photo requests, and I've got a feeling somebody's going to ask me to have a photo taken with them again, so I may have to interrupt filming for that. But here we are in the assembly hall where the 7th plenum was held, so you can see it in your history books, but here I am right now where it all happened. Okay, well here I've reached a more interesting part of the revolutionary base. Basically the hillside dugouts, if you could call them that, where the leadership lived in the early part of the Yan'an period. Now, having visited 3 revolutionary base areas, this is certainly the most interesting one. I mean, these dugouts in the hillside are really what I came to Yan'an to see. Well, not solely what I came to see, but probably the most interesting part. Well, since this one's the former residence of Mao Zedong, of course, this is going to be more crowded. So, yeah, I'm just going to have to try and make my way through, and inevitably somebody's probably going to want to have the photo taken with me. I mean, not that I'm complaining, it's happening more here than just about anywhere else in China that I've encountered for a very long time. So, okay, so yeah, I can see that's clearly a tour group with the people in the uniforms or the blue waistcoated uniforms, and yes, here it is, Mao Zedong's residence from 1938 to 1943. So here we go, and we've got okay, so more black and white photos. We've got a desk. Oh, now this is different. This is a bit more compact, certainly less well designed, and we can see that in the early stage of the Yan'an period it certainly wasn't as luxurious, but I like this one more. If I was to live in any of the residences that I've encountered so far, it'd be this one. It's got a more cosy, homely feel. And there we have Mao Zedong's desk and his study, and let's just have a quick look around here. And oh, sorry, nearly tripped. Oh, we do have a bookcase. I mean, after all, he was a bookworm, despite him saying that to read too many books is harmful. Flask and kettle and a bed. Yeah, I mean, if I was to live in any of the revolutionary base area residences, it'd be this one. Right, well, I'm about to enter the former residence of Jude, which is less crowded, obviously, than the residence of Mao Zedong, but to me just as important. It kind of reminds me of a scene in The Simpsons where Lisa goes to, it's called Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington, and she visits the Lincoln Memorial for some inspiration, but it's too crowded, so she goes to the Jefferson Memorial instead. Well, it's a bit like that. The Mao Zedong residence was a bit too crowded, so I've come to the Jude one as well, but I don't think Jude was any less important. So without further ado, let's go inside. Well, I spoke too soon. I did find that initial tour of Jude's residence a bit crowded. I had to halt filming mainly because some people came in and it just got a bit too noisy. But here we see, we see a collection of old material. I can see by the yellowing on the pages it's quite old. We see a picture of, I believe it's Judah Herlong and Xu Shangchen in Yan'an. Yeah, so that's Judah Herlong, Xu Shangchen, Yan'an. Oh, I can't read the rest, but hey ho. And we have, another. I can't really distinguish this one that well. So yeah, these living quarters are more modest than the other ones, but I prefer them. I'd rather, if I'd have been in the CCP leadership back then, I'd have said, well, let's stay at Yangjiaying. But yeah, just a quick recap. So Herlong and Xu Shangchen are both PLA field marshals. Herlong being from Hunan province, like many others, but Xu Shangchen is from Shanxi province. Not this Shanxi province, the one to the east. Famous for coal mines. So, yeah, I'm just going to go around and let's see if I can film the living quarters without too much noise. So here we have the bed. A sign telling people not to sit there. I mean, to me, that's common sense, but hey-ho. And we have, similar to the others, but we have much more room. We have a much more roomy. And what do we have here? Oh, somebody's nicely illuminated it. It's, quite a nice alcove. Okay, yes. Okay, well, I'd much rather live here than the other places. I'll end on that note. Okay, so I've now found a more opportune site for filming. This area. Well, to me, this is just a bit more picturesque. You've got a much more of a feeling of the hillside dugouts, but also it's much less crowded. I mean, there's no. I'm not seeing any big names, which is maybe a reason why this area is a bit less crowded. But to me, it's a bit more picturesque. And yeah, if I'd have had my pick and choice of where to live, well, I don't know. Mao Zedong's residence was very cosy, but this has a very nice view. Let's see what the interior's like. Okay, now I'm getting a bit of an explanation as to why this is not so crowded. It seems that the area, well, you can see by the lock and key on the doors that these aren't for admission and aren't really suitable for touring. Maybe these weren't inhabited by more senior leadership or haven't been refurbished. Can we see much inside here? Oh, no, I see things on the wall here, and yeah, I think it's just, maybe just the upkeep has been, maybe they've just slacked a bit on the upkeep budget, so it's off limits at the moment. But, never mind. Like I say, I'm getting a bit tired of going around all these different residences, but at least I saved the best till last.